The Ink and Paint Club podcast is intended for mature audiences only, so don't tell your parents! Listener discretion is advised.
Matt, is this your way of like trying to subtly tell us you're a furry and you don't want us to roast you?
It's too late, motherfucker. I'm already a host on the show.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, your weekly home for animation reviews and discussions.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to
JD.
What? Fuck you. Fuck it. We're good. We're going. Hi, everybody. My name is JD. Welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. The man over there interrupting me is Kyle.
Interrupting cow, moo!
And that other idiot giggling in the corner is Matt.
Hey, I'm Matt.
I'm sorry if I sound weird. I have a cold right now, so I probably have a weird raspy voice. But yeah, it is almost Halloween around here, and Kyle brought something up on our Discord channel that I hadn't thought about in years, so thought it'd make for an interesting rewatch. And to talk about tonight, we're gonna be talking about the weird Billy and Mandy spinoff, Underfist.
Halloween Bash.
And like I said, I have not thought about this in years. It like completely had left my mind until Kyle brought it up. I'm like, oh yeah, forgot about that was a thing.
I don't even remember if I watched this when it originally aired. I don't recall ever watching all of Underfist. I was aware of it, and I've probably seen clips here and there, but I don't remember sitting down and ever watching the whole thing until doing it for the review.
It came out in 2008.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think this was like still in the time where like Cartoon Network was still good, or like
This
they
was-
were
Yeah,
making
it was
their
right
comeback.
before. It was right before Stuart Snyder was like president, I think, and right before he started putting in all like the live action shows and stuff. Because that was what I was reading, was that this was originally like a special that was intended to be like the first in like a trilogy, but then Maxwell Adams like contract expired, so he went on to Disney to work on Fish Hooks, and then Stuart Snyder like was greenlit all like the live action shit, so no follow up was ever made for Underfist, so it ended up being like a series finale.
Yeah, it was lost on the wayside with the change in the command or whatever.
Yeah.
Not a fun time.
Yeah.
A dark time, even.
Yeah.
A dark live action time.
It was just funny because I noticed there was like a Chowder reference in the background.
Yeah, there's
In one
Chowder's
shot.
hanging out in a pumpkin.
Which
Well,
there's a
so-
lot of like other media references in this that is like I'm surprised they got away with, but we can get into that later.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, this is like Maxwell Adams and C.H. Greenblatt working simultaneously, because they do Maxwell does Jeff's voice, and then C.H. Greenblatt does Fred
Burger.
Fred's voice.
Yeah,
That's funny.
they're like besties. So
I kind
that's
of forgot
cute,
that Maxwell did Jeff's voice.
Yeah.
I wasn't
But,
aware until I was reading about it. I was reading an interview that Max did when Underfist came out. I could have sworn that Fred Burger was like around a lot more than apparently he was. Apparently, he was only like in 2 episodes and one of the other movies. But
And
when he was
but
so
yeah.
like ingrained like in the like the bumps and stuff like around that time that it just felt like he
Dude,
was a lot.
they made an entire marketing campaign around him just saying yes.
Yeah, that was when I heard him say it, and especially I'm like, oh my god, that brings back memories.
They just fucking went with it, man.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. But yeah, so they did this hour-long Halloween special that basically just teamed up a lot of the Billy and Mandy side characters. So you got like Irwin and Haas Delgado and Jeff the Spider, Fred Burger, and then like General Scar from Yoko Carne is there.
He was their next door neighbor too.
Yeah, because I remember there was an episode where they brought him back as like an older he was like an older guy. He's got like a gray mustache now, and he was like just like their crotchety neighbor.
I was looking him up because I know I already know a lot of the VA the voice actors they have offhand, like for these typical Cartoon Network stuff. But Scar is a dude named Armin Shimmerman, and he did Doctor Nefarious and Ratchet and Clank. He also was Quark in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and then he did Andrew Ryan in BioShock. That was one I was most familiar with, so that was interesting to read.
Which is weird because I also looked that up, only because it's like it kind of sounds a little like Billy West doing like the Professor Farnsworth voice. And I've in the past I've thought that Doctor Nefarious kind of sounded like Billy West in some aspects, or like maybe Richard Horvitz or something. So I looked it up and I'm like, yeah, that's the same guy there. That's strange. But there you go.
Nefarious.
He's Dr. Nefarious, man. Which I've never actually played the Ratchet and Clank game that he's in, or finished the reboot they did for the movie a couple years ago.
I never messed with any of that stuff.
Yeah,
It's more like the games he's in.
plural.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so you get all these side characters going up against an army of candy monsters because the candy's coming back for revenge on Halloween night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
pretty much that is a good summation of what it is. Well,
Yeah.
like there's some particular stuff here and there, but that's a good
Right.
sort of just baseline thing for it.
Well, since Matt, you were the only one that hadn't seen this prior, what did you think?
Well, yeah, like I said, I feel like I haven't seen the whole thing, but I was aware of certain aspects of it. I liked it. I thought it was great. I honestly, I haven't rewatched a lot of Billy and Mandy stuff for like a long time. Like I remember watching like a lot of reruns on Cartoon Network back when I had cable, but yeah, no, I mean, it was like your typical. It was interesting to see a special that focused like on the side characters and stuff. Because I mean, Billy, Mandy, and Grimm are like barely in this. Like they're in like probably I want to say like 5 minutes in total, like in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing them like focus on like some of the side characters and like bring them together, like it's fun. It's kind of like your Guardians of the Galaxy approach. You bring together like these characters and then you put them in a team and see what hijinks ensue, and it's always a fun time.
I will say that I don't think Irwin is that strong of a character to have a whole show based on him.
I can see why they did it though, just because of all the stuff that they were building on at the show, like about him like being the daughter of a mummy and the grandson of Dracula. Oh wait, sorry. I mean,
sorry.
The son of a mummy, and yeah. Anyway,
but yeah, it is kind of strange. Like you kind of need to know a little bit of what's been happening in Billy and Mandy for the last couple seasons, because like you have to like know that Irwin has been revealed to be half mummy, half vampire, or like you have to know that like the whole relationship with Billy and Jeff. There's a lot of like weird little callbacks, which I don't think really detracts if you've never seen Billy and Mandy before, but like I can't imagine you would have watched this if you hadn't.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like I mean, as weird as like contrived it said, like, okay, we're gonna take all these side characters and then put them together and just see what happens. I think all the characters kind of like work well together. I definitely kind of agree with Kyle. I don't think Irwin's that strong of a character. Like
I agree in that respect too, but I see why they did that.
Yeah, but like especially like at the beginning of the thing, they were really playing heavy on him like saying "yo" every other line.
Yeah,
that's his thing, like,
It feels like a one-note character in a sense.
His personality is black nerd.
Token black,
but like the whitest black nerd.
Well, that was even Haas calls him Urkel at one point.
He does call him Urkel.
Now, see, that's where it comes into play. Is like I think Haas is a really fun character, and basically anything about him is just made up on the spot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that like Diedrich Bader like got to ad lib some of his lines, because like I will say this special reminded me that I fucking love Haas Delgado.
Yeah.
It's like the best fucking character to come from that show.
I think anytime Diedrich Bader is allowed to just like go wild is always fun. Like him playing Haas or him playing like Batman. Like it's always like a fun time.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I agree.
But he's like Ash the Evil Dead, and just like, but he's like extra macho.
Well, he's also like Kurt Russell and Snake Plissken and
yeah, he's just like
Escape from New
all
York.
this like fucking like 80s badass things, just like
Yeah.
merged into one man. And he lives with his mom.
And apparently
See,
he
that was-
lost his limbs and his eye from running with scissors.
I felt like that was a new joke for Underfist.
It probably was. I almost feel like there was an explanation in the show for why he like lost his arm, leg, and his hand, but they decided to make another joke about it this time.
I mean, the whole living with his mom thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't recall that being a thing before.
That was probably a joke. I did like how he keeps saying he doesn't work with one-eyed weirdos.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a scar every time. I don't know. It was like, it's such a stupid joke, but it got me every single time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what joke got me really good was there's a bit where he's talking about how he needs to get back home and finish a novel, and Scar's like, "Oh, you're writing a novel," and he's like, "No, I'm eating one. War and Peace. It's a tough
And dude,
novel."
Like when you get into the tank later, you see it laying on the floor with a big bite mark.
Oh, I didn't notice that part.
It's like sitting in the corner. It's like, damn, that's a good callback.
See,
I don't know.
that's-
Like, I've always felt like Billy Mandy has like a really like weird sense of humor, but like a sense of humor I can really get behind.
yeah. That's
And like
what I was.
for as like
saying.
dumb as the premise of this, I just feel like it's really cleverly written.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of makes me sad that like nothing ever really came of this afterwards, for one reason or another. But I don't know. I was like rolling through most of this, like even just how stupid it was.
Yeah, there's a lot of great gags in it. It is a shame. Like I would have liked to have seen this like as a whole trilogy of specials. It probably could have worked really well.
It's interesting because there is a pitch Bible going around too, showing off different stuff.
Oh,
See-
that's right. I actually recall that.
And
There was
there's,
a whole
like-
thing.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing about Eris being a part of it, and she
split.
into different things.
They
Yeah.
kind of do a bit of that at the end. Like there's that whole end credit sequence, so they're like doing like little splash title screens for like
it's like
for potential
Underfist versus the
sequels,
dinosaurs,
spin-offs. Underfist Miami,
I love
Underfist
Underfist
Babies.
Miami. Yeah, like the Spider Queen comes back or something.
Yeah,
Or Underfist Babies. I think the funniest gag out of that is Underfist teaches traffic safety.
oh, that's a good one too.
It's just Tasno Gatto leading kids across the street.
I think he has like a stop sign coming out of his
Yeah,
mechanical stump. Yeah.
Just like it's like all these like really badass things, like it's like them fighting dinosaurs and like other monsters, and it just goes to traffic safety.
That's where it feels like whoever was a part of the team on this was very passionate about what they did, and everything comes off as genuine. When you compare it to other shows at the time, it comes off more cynical when you see the sense of humor on other stuff. Does that make any sense?
Speaking of the team on this, I wanted to bring up that because, like I said, it had been like a little bit since I'd seen Billy and Mandy proper, like the show or any of the other the specials and movies that came up before it. But I remembered this looking Underfist looking a bit different stylistically from the other stuff. And I was reading in an interview with Maxwell Adams that they did have the same animation house that they were using, but apparently the time between when the Billy and Mandy show wrapped up and by the time Underfist started, they lost a lot of like the crew that worked on it. So apparently everyone that was working on this locally was all done like freelance work. So and apparently Maxwell did like a lot of like sort of redesigns on some characters like Haas and everything to just sort of like, because it was intended to be like a whole spin-off of stuff, so we wanted to look stylistically different from the show, which I can appreciate, and I think it works pretty well for what it is.
Yeah, because I always felt like in the show, like Haas had like kind of a simpler design, but in this one they were like really.
He's a brick shit house.
Yeah, exactly. Like they just gave him a lot more definition to his character design. So, yeah, I mean, it does kind of look a little different from the show, just a tad. But like once you get like the other mainstay characters like Billy Mandy and Grimm and all that kind of stuff in there, like it's like this looks in universe, but just different enough to kind of set it apart.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I
think it's just like loaded with a bunch of visual references, which I appreciated. Like there's a bit where they're all getting like the costume changers, and General Scars they just look like Freddy Krueger, and Haas is like a shitty Frankenstein costume.
yes, and then there's like that like Billy is like
just like Dexter.
Dexter.
Yeah. The bit near the beginning where Scar's fending off the chocolate dudes from his lawn, he's got like the robot suit from Alien 2
Oh, yeah.
or Aliens, and he's fighting them
And
with
then,
that.
like another thing is like Mindy's like grown. She's just walking around town in the evil queen outfit from Snow White.
Yeah, because she's like a witch in this.
I was just thinking right now. One of the jokes that kept getting me was the bunny kept talking to a candy bar. He kept calling him Perkins. It's like a British accent.
Perkins.
Perkins and the other guy.
Fucking great.
They're like just like up on their little sand barge thing from Star Wars, and they're like, "Why didn't we get all buff like the other people?
You had to be like in the mist.
We get to be up in the mist, like right up in there." And it's like they're all bummed out about it, and they never get buff.
One of the other stupid jokes that made me laugh was when they were asking if anybody knew how to drive stick, and there's a little flashback to Jeff playing with Fred Fredberger. Fred Fredberger's got like a little toy car, and Jeff's got like a stick that he's going vroom vroom with. He's like, I know how to drive stick.
And then you only ever see him like actually driving once.
Yeah,
because it's weird because it transitions to the next scene, and they're waking up Erwin, and Jeff's the one waking him up. Is like, who's driving the car?
Wake up! They're coming to get you.
But like that joke is even better because it's like Erwin's like, why have you never used this before? And it's like, Hostile Ghetto doesn't drive stick.
Yeah.
It's like so fucking stupid, but I love it.
I think the other joke that made me laugh too was the soda guns. Like, it's not doing anything. He's like, of course it does. Made me sticky. Probably gonna get a rash now.
Now I have to fight naked.
Oh, his chest hair just comes out like a whole ass mane, like.
And everyone's just like so grossed out by that. Like kind of skipping towards the end, I did think it was kind of weird that they kind of retcon that the bunny marshmallow man is kind of like the reason for a lot of the character motivations. Like he apparently way back in the day was the reason made Billy afraid of spiders, and he was the monster in Hostile Ghetto's closet, and he
sawed off Fred Fredberger's tusks.
Yeah. So it's like it's just weird that they're retconning all these things for like this one character who like immediately dies after saying all this.
Yeah, he just gets nonchalantly kicked into the hot cocoa by Scar.
I feel like stuff like that, they're just really dumb throwaway jokes that it doesn't really retcon it. Because if you want to think about it, this would be like a non-canon thing.
Yeah.
Or its own alternate canon, like because it was supposed to be a part of a whole other thing. So I could see why they would do that, and I thought it worked well for that.
You want to have the connection of why all these people are against a stupid fucking bunny, but it's stuff like that makes me laugh whenever cartoons pull it off, because people get so serious about it they have to fucking change the Wikipedia on certain things. It's just like, you guys don't get that that's just a fucking joke. Like, that's all that was.
Yeah.
Just a dumb little joke.
Same type of people that are, like, oh, well, this character died in this episode, but he's back the next episode. Like, nothing happened. Like, that was a blunder on someone's part.
It's a cartoon. Don't need to make sense.
Yeah.
It was a wizard.
The wizard did it.
The wizard did it. But yeah, this like, I mean, I'm actually kind of glad Kyle suggested this because I hadn't seen this in forever, and like I just forgot how much.
It's a fun watch. It was very fun.
Yeah.
I felt like it worked as a better, like, even though, well, no, actually in the same way, because we were talking about Captain Underpants last week, where because you don't really need like a lot of the character familiarity, like they kind of explain the premise pretty well, and it doesn't need to work off a bunch of previous sort of character relations or anything. Like you just need the very baseline knowledge of it, whereas this one you don't necessarily need that, but like it definitely does help. But I feel like this definitely works as a better Halloween special than that, I believe.
Yeah,
just in general feel and like how it feels grander.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
I also like they brought Grandpa Dracula back.
They got him a penny.
Dracula don't suck. He scrapes
and licks.
Scrape. I gotta say, old Black Dracula is probably like one of the funniest jokes to come out of that show.
That's a great interpretation.
And I just love like Phil Lamar's like just sassy old black man.
Yeah.
This fucking wife like yells like, "I'm on Grandma's feet."
Coming, honey.
He gives pennies out, and then they give him a penny at the end. They say, "Dracula like pennies are the worst treat ever." That's some good shit right there.
Yeah. There was one bit that I thought they were going to follow up on. There's a bit where Mindy's dressed up as the queen from Snow White and giving out the caramel apples, and Grimm's like, "I don't know, I only want to do a sure thing," and gives out the two. No, but then when he comes back out and sprays her with the water, I thought that was going to melt her because she was a witch. And I was surprised that it didn't. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that was just a funny little thing.
No, I didn't think it was funny. He just comes back. He comes back with a spray bottle. For no reason.
Go on, get.
It's like Billy Mandy always got like, I feel like they got away with a lot of like really just weird off humor, I guess is all I can describe it as.
Yeah, no, like in the same way
that it was them could they do it.
It was in the same way that Zim did like on Nickelodeon. Like both of these shows just got away with so much that they probably shouldn't have. Like,
yeah, and it's not like inappropriate humor, it's just like weird. I don't know.
Very weird, very off, very gross.
What other show is gonna like have someone close the door and then immediately come back with a spray bottle spray a child? Or just fucking like candy monsters come out for seemingly no reason. Like I feel like the whole set. I mean, I know they explain why the whole candy invasion happened, but like it seems really abrupt and rushed. Right up front.
Just a very, very stick thin motivation to have a bunch of monsters for Haas to fight.
I did think it was funny that they tried to end the show 5 minutes into it.
Oh yeah,
credits.
Fake credits.
It just says Irwin as himself, Haas Delgado is some other guy. Like all the credits are just nonsense.
I was trying to remember. Probably not in the show proper, but maybe in one of the other movies, because I noticed it a lot in this. But they do like a lot of mostly related to like the candy people and like Haas's car and stuff. They use like some 3D models and stuff there. And just back like in the time period where like this was made, you didn't really see that often. Like the only other comparison I can think of is again Zim, just because they did that a lot there. But did any other like Billy and Mandy thing use 3D models like in the capacity that this did? If you guys remember.
Just think of Futurama using 3D models.
Yeah, Futurama too. Shit.
I'm not like too familiar with like I haven't watched Billy Mandy in years, so I don't really remember if they ever use like that low res 3D model stuff or the cell shaded stuff.
It just there was one shot that stood out to me that was actually like a really cool shot where Haas's car blows up and like it's flying towards the camera, and like Irwin, it's a close up on Irwin, he's like screaming, and then it goes back down, like the car is falling, and then Jeff jumps towards the camera to grab Irwin, and like it's actually a really cool shot. Like I was surprised to see it. I'm like, oh wow, that's actually really good. Like it surprised me.
Just reminded me of another joke I liked where he was like, I had to eat so many blue chili beans to get it to come out. Fred was like, I want to try. He's like, I don't think that was webs.
You know, I was honestly kind of like, I know it's a kid's cartoon, so I was honestly half expecting him to actually show Fredberger taking a giant shit. Like maybe changing it a little bit so it doesn't exactly look like shit, but like, I don't want to watch him take a dump, but I was kind of half expecting it.
They kind of alluded to it.
Oh no,
because
they cut back and they're like looking down at it. It just never actually shows it.
Well, no, the next shot, it had the candy people stomping, and they stomp on a pumpkin, but they just showed like the pumpkin splattered on the floor.
Oh jeez.
It does look like shit, so it kind of did that.
And that joke this is kind of gross, but like that joke kind of works on different levels because it's like when you eat, I mean, it doesn't turn your poop blue, but it's like when you eat like blue, green, purple dyes in great amounts, it does turn your poop green, which is a weird science fact for you kids.
There you go.
You get to learn something from this show for once.
Yeah, we don't teach you much. Mostly,
what we do teach you is useless.
We don't even. Yeah, you'll never need to know that, but now you do.
And now you can't unlearn it.
Exactly.
You might for like a trivia night or something. We might have saved your life.
What are some symptoms of turning your poop different colors?
Oh, wait, I know this one. I listened to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Thanks, JD, Kyle, and Matt.
If someone like real world referenced our podcast, I'd be fucking surprised. Because, but yeah, I think this is a fun Halloween-esque special. I don't know if it would be like, again, I don't think it would something that would immediately occur to me to watch during Halloween, but I'm glad that I did watch it again this year because it's like I needed a good laugh.
There's the second one too. The jacked up Halloween.
Oh yeah.
Oh, maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe. But I don't think you can go wrong with Billy and Mandy. I think it's one of those shows that actually got funnier as it went on because it really developed its sense of humor.
Yeah, they really got their groove.
Yeah, so I think if you're a fan of Billy and Mandy and you haven't watched this in a while, or if you're like Matt and you haven't ever watched it, I'd recommend checking it out. I think it'd be a good, fun Halloween watch.
I think it was just a bunch of adults loving what they were doing, made something awesome.
No, you can't go wrong with that.
Not like Gym Partner as a monkey or something like that, where that comes off as pretty cynical.
Yeah. That show was.
It was a show.
It was a show that. Have I gone off about the TV movie before?
Nope.
Oh, I would say my only takeaway from Gym Partner as a Monkey is that like for whatever reason I watched the TV movie they did, and it just pissed me off because it's like they're going on the big field trip, and at this hour-long movie, and they get to the end, and they literally went to a big field.
Oh,
that was the joke.
I don't know if you mentioned on the podcast, but I remember you mentioning that for sure.
Yeah, and it pissed me off. It's like, really? I don't even know why. I didn't even watch the show, so I don't know why I watched the movie. But it led up to that, and it's like, fuck you. Just fuck all of this.
What about the other great show, Squirrel Boy?
God, that wasn't really a Cartoon Network show, though, was it? Was that one of those ones they licensed? It was like made somewhere else, and they licensed.
It was, I believe, it was.
It had Red Foreman on it.
Oh, it had a. Oh, really?
He was the dad.
He got killed in RoboCop.
He did get killed in RoboCop, and this guy was gonna put the foot in all the asses.
Dumbass.
Squirrel Boy. Big oof.
I mean, like that era is like, I feel is really hit and miss. You got like good shit like Flapjack and Chowder, but then you have just weird shit like Squirrel Boy and Gym Partner's a Monkey and
Cramp Twins.
That wasn't a Cartoon
Cramp
Network
Twins
thing,
was on like Fox Kids.
Yeah,
before.
that was a Fox
Kids. It was
Kids
around the same time.
I mean, when they started airing it on Cartoon Network, yeah, but those were like reruns on the Fox box.
Oof.
What We're not here to drag you down with shitty cartoons. Watch Underfist. It's a good cartoon.
Yeah.
And it's just
It
an
was-
hour long.
Yeah, it'll make you chuckle. I dare say.
Do you dare say it?
I dare say.
He did. He said it.
All right.
I dared him. He
All
did
right.
it.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our month of spoopiness. We'll be back to our regular, probably non-spoopiness next week. But we'll see. I can't make any promises.
If we're on track with the one I want to do next week, it might be a little spoopy.
Spoilers. Viewers need to go in blind. They need to be kept on their toes and not know what we're doing, so it makes it look like we have a plan.
I'm sick of that. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time.
It's true. Do any of us know? We're living in a void.
We live in a society.
There you go. All right, everybody. Well, I hope everyone has a good holiday this year. Be safe, I guess. Don't eat razor blades.
Yeah, check them apples.
Yeah. Don't break your teeth on caramel apples. And hope everyone's got a cool costume. But yeah, we'll catch everybody next week. Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to keep up with the show. Join our Discord to chat with us, and subscribe to our Patreon for some cool bonuses. Links are in the description. We'll see you next time.